Welcome everybody. This is Wednesday and it's August 12th and we're we're about halfway through the month.
Close.
Very,
3.5 days.
It's kind of this weird, is it smoke? It's got to be smoke in the sky.
Yeah.
We have had this weird,
Well,
and our visibility is poor.
Some thunderstorm activity moving through. We're supposed to get some tomorrow.
What about tonight? Tonight I wanted to do some sunset boating.
Possibly tonight into tomorrow.
Okay, I better watch for that.
So
because I
they're just
really
going
don't
to
like to be out there.
through the forecast. They can predict, but they can't control Mother Nature.
Yes, absolutely.
So
they can attempt to predict. All right, so let me tell you what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about economic development in the Tri-Cities area. And what is really, really cool to me is that this is a program that the Tri-Cities Regional Chamber is doing, and there's just a tremendous amount of talk about jobs. Let's develop jobs. Let's all kinds of talk about it, but not much action. Well, this is a program that the Regional Chamber is doing, which I consider to be real action, and that is greatly appreciated. My guest today is Lori Matson. Lori, what is your title with Regional Chamber?
Hi, Christine. I'm the president and CEO of the Tri-City Regional Chamber.
I never know what people's titles are. They're always different. But anyway, president and CEO. Okay. So the name of this program is called Economic Gardening. And
That's right.
that in itself is just kind of funny. But what is it?
Well, economic gardening is a grow from within strategy that was first developed in 1987. So it's been they've been innovating this program for 28 years now. Started in Littleton, Colorado, by a gentleman named Chris Gibbons, who is still very much involved with the National Center for Economic Gardening. They had one of their major employers move out of their community. With them took about 15,000 jobs. So the people at the city put their heads together and decided that their time would be better spent taking the companies that they currently have and putting strategies together to help those companies grow. So economic gardening has been in existence for 28 years, and we're the first organization in the Pacific Northwest to launch a pilot program where we are in the process of selecting 5 companies to run through the program.
So this is not the creation of a company. You're working with existing companies in the Tri-Cities.
Yes, actually, yes. So the pilot program that we're launching, we're currently taking applications. We've selected 2 of the companies and have just had some of the first steps with these companies. Both companies have been in existence for over 20 years. So these are the parameters are what they call stage 2 companies. So these are not startups, and it's also not a save me strategy. These are companies that are in your community and they are already growing, and that by going through this process and this engagement with this team, you could get tools so that you could take your company to that next level.
To the next level, okay. So does it cost you to participate?
Well, it does not cost the company. We were really excited when we first wanted to go out and launch this program. We went to Battelle and Giza Credit Union and raised the money in order to run the 5 businesses through the program, and also some marketing and some training for myself and our Government and Economic Affairs Director, who traveled to the Edward Lowe Foundation, where the National Center for Economic Gardening is housed, went through some basic certification training so that we would understand the process more. So, and it's actually unique. Our program is one of the only self-funded programs in the United States. A lot of them are funded through state or local agencies. So we went out and got private dollars and got sponsors to fund this.
That's interesting. All right, so you have 2 out of the 5 right now
Right.
that are on the board. Okay. Have you had more than that, but you did not select those companies?
Well, they have to. There's certain criteria that they have to meet. So they have to have annual revenue of between $1 and $50 million. They have to have between 10 and 99 employees, and they have to demonstrate growth and or revenue growth during the last 2 of the 5 years. And really where some businesses have applied but maybe they're not eligible is the criteria where they have to provide products or services beyond the local market. So again, there are a lot of local companies, but so far the 2 companies that we've selected either already have operations in other states or other communities in Washington State, or their services or products that they provide could essentially be purchased and used by any other company in the United States. They're not really stuck right here.
Okay, so what is the overall purpose of this? Because as I look at it, gee, that's really nice for those companies that you're going to make them bigger and more profitable, but what's in it for me? What do I get?
Well, there's great numbers on some of the outcomes of these programs. For instance, in Florida, they've had they were actually the first state. They have the first state to run a statewide program. Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, all of these places. There's about 32 programs running throughout the country. So when the 2 companies that we've selected and what will become 5 companies, when they grow, when they add jobs, they'll hire people. The outcomes for this are really staggering, and that in a short amount of time, 2 or 3 years, these pilot programs, you run 20 companies through and they hire 100 people. 100 jobs in the Tri-Cities, those people then buying homes, requiring services, paying taxes and all those things. It is really quite an enormous benefit, I guess, to the community.
Okay, so there's where I get my benefit,
absolutely. More listeners, more advertisers.
There you go.
Right down to you.
Right down to me. I didn't mean quite that way, but yes, okay, I
Yes.
get that part.
Mhm.
And folks, if you've got a question or you want to make a comment and add to our conversation today, please give us a call. Remember, our phone number is 547-8726. Okay, so in reading a little bit about this, Lori, I realized that essentially I got to give up all my financial information. That's kind of scary to companies, I think.
Sure. Well, all of the companies that apply, there's basic information provided to the chamber, which is all extremely confidential. So much that we're not even sharing the names of the 2 companies that we selected here today.
Yeah.
Then there is this secure portal in which any information that goes between these research specialists at the National Center and the companies are transferring to each other. It is a secure online portal. So all of the information is extremely confidential. Again, the National Center for Economic Gardening has been in existence for decades, and they, after having gone there for training and now listening on these calls, I mean, you're really dealing with a top-notch organization.
Mm-hmm. So bottom line, a company's already making more than $1 million. They already have at least 10 employees. I mean, it's not a save me company.
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do for these companies?
Yeah, so the way it works is they have 4 people that are part of this National Strategic Research Team for each company. And actually, interestingly enough, the 2 companies that we've selected each have 4 different people on their team. So we have seen the pictures and read the bios of the 4 people on each of the teams for our companies. So it's really like having this team of experts on your staff for about 4 to 6 weeks. The CEOs don't have to leave their offices. All of these calls were done. One of them they were all in different locations. The call we were on today. Yesterday, the CEO had his team in their conference room, I imagine. And it's like you get access to these very sophisticated corporate level tools that a lot of times, even though these companies are stage 2 and they're making over $1 million, they may not have a person or the funds to invest in these tools to really look at geographic information systems, search engine optimization, or do really extensive market research.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things in reading your material that really caught my eye is that the experts would spend time identifying potential new markets.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like that is an area that companies could greatly benefit from, just knowing where to try to market their business, their service, their product, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, and if you look at the team, there's 9 people on the national team that are specific to this market research, and their backgrounds are they're certified in competitive intelligence. They do news monitoring. One of them heads up a global strategic intelligence service at their company. One of them is a manager for a manufacturing technology center. So these people have jobs outside of what they're doing here with the National Center. They're all somehow in corporate strategic management. The social media people, for instance, are marketing strategists. They have backgrounds in advertising. The GIS people, a couple of them work for Michigan State. One of them was the former director of international marketing for Waterpik. Mm-hmm. So these people are contracted with the National Center for Economic Gardening for so many hours. So they are now going to be engaged with these CEOs of these companies here in the Tri-Cities. And then they have access to these expensive and sophisticated tools to help solve problems. And in these conversations we had with the CEOs, the team leader will ask them, what are your challenges, or what's keeping you from expanding here? And again, each CEO is different, and then all of these teams are different. But as the CEO, if somebody said to me, what's your biggest challenge, and if we could get a team of experts solving your problems, gosh, that's like Christmas, So
yeah,
you've got this team of experts working on your company for about 36 hours. The whole process takes about 4 to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. All right. Hey, we better take a break right here, but we have got more questions to learn about economic gardening. Love that title. My guest today is Lori Matson with the Tri-Cities Regional Chamber. Stay with us. And this is Wednesday. I always forget what day it is anyway.
There's a camel running around here somewhere.
Ha! Very good.
Bunch.
Yes. Well, my guest today is Lori Matson. She's with Tri-Cities Regional Chamber, and they're doing this great project called Economic Gardening. And the reason that I'm just so attracted to it, and it makes a lot of sense to me, is that it is actual action. It's action. It's action about developing companies that trickle down and create jobs and make our community bigger and better for employment opportunities, and just having a greater tax base, on and on and on. Those kinds of things, really putting it into action. And Lori was just telling me that, you started out to be, you got involved in this, let's say, maybe a year ago. You first started tapping into this, and because of that, there are now other programs in the state that are interested, like even the state of Washington is interested.
Yeah, there may be a bill dropped in the next session, and the folks from the Department of Commerce have been watching this very closely. There have been a lot of conversations. Again, economic gardening has been around for 28 years, so it's really nothing new to the state of Washington. But we just haven't had anybody actually doing it yet. So they're watching us really closely. There's a little pressure on us to
yeah.
pick the right 5 companies, pick the right 5 CEOs that that not only will it be beneficial for the funds that we raise from our sponsors, Battelle and Gisa, but that that it is a valuable tool that can actually add jobs, add revenue to their bottom line, which will grow our economy.
Mm-hmm. So what is your vision for the Tri-Cities about this? Would you really like to see it expanded beyond the 5 companies that you're going to work with?
Oh yes, I think when we first started, one of the great things about the pilot program is that it does give you a relatively low risk way of learning about the program and seeing if it really does work in your community. But we wouldn't be investing the time and the energy into this if we weren't expecting that it were going to be successful, that we would continue to be able to raise money and find ways to make this work. So we're not expecting that this is going to be 5 companies and that it's going to be over. We expect to next year have 5, 10 more and beyond. I'd love to look back in 10 years or so and be able to say, through this program we brought this much revenue into the community. We are responsible for helping to create 100 or 200 new jobs. And that's a great thing about this. You talk about action. It's really very easy to measure. It's not this this idea or this, there's real metrics with this.
Mm-hmm. So have you gone out to companies to say, would you like to see if you're eligible for this process, or have they come to you?
Well, it's been kind of a combination of both. We've had companies apply. Again, we have to be really careful about them meeting all of the eligibility, but we've definitely put our heads together. We're working closely with our sponsors, with Battelle and Gisa, to find to help them or have them help us locate companies that maybe aren't necessarily companies that are engaged with the chamber right now. So I would say just a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. Could this involve people having to ramp up into a completely different product, or expand their physical plant, or take out a big loan to do something? I mean,
oh yes, that's the whole purpose of
this. Okay.
Yeah, is to, again, with these calls we've been on, it's great. We just had these 2 calls with the CEOs, and in listening to them, I can already see how these dots, are being connected, and that, we'd like to expand to this market, but, is there too much competition in that market? So rather than investing the, hundreds of thousands of dollars to move to a certain market or to expand in a certain product, that these research specialists can identify if in fact that's a smart move, and then help provide this information to the CEO, who is already extremely intelligent, running a profitable company, can take this information and then kind of figure out how much of it that they want to actually implement.
Yeah, so there's no risk on their part. They don't have to put up any money. Mm-hmm. They actually don't have to do anything that is suggested to them.
Right.
These are kind of open suggestions. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like only if it makes sense to that CEO and the company do they implement it.
Yeah, again, picking the right company.
Yes.
Our hope is that they will implement this.
But I mean, they're not forced.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
Okay, hey, our phone number, if you want to add to our conversation, 547-8726. The other beauty of this, quite frankly, is that it comes outside of government.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, when we first looked into doing this, we thought about that. How do we raise the money? And we just decided that we really wanted ours to be privately funded by corporate sponsors at this point. It may grow. We may be part of a statewide project. We may go out to government entities in the future and look for funding. But we really wanted to do it quickly, and we knew we could go get in front of a couple CEOs and make a request for a certain amount of money and get an answer pretty quickly, and
mm-hmm.
and then also have the benefit of working with those organizations.
Yeah, well, the other benefit is here in the Tri-Cities, in that our economy is pretty solid,
mm-hmm.
and we do have a lot of private companies doing a lot of business in this area. So you had quite a few to pick from and still do, so
mm-hmm.
that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to hear some examples of how it's worked in other places, in other companies, because that's really, to me, Lori, that's the selling point.
Sure, of course.
So you sell me on it.
Yeah. Okay, so again, just kind of looking at a couple of statewide programs. So in 2012, Michigan launched their statewide program, and they had 51 companies. 32 of them responded to a survey and reported that they'd created 121 full-time and 16 part-time jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Rochester, New York, 20 companies participated in the pilot program. Those companies, so 20 companies created 117 new jobs, translated into a cost of only $1,700 per job.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's not that expensive. If you look at all of the money that is invested in other types of economic development projects, that the actual cost, because it's funded through the Edward Lowe Foundation, it's subsidized by that. Our cost even to the National Center for Economic Gardening is not that much. So if you look at the actual cost per job, again, here's $1,700 per job.
$1,700 per job. So if we go to some other
in Rochester,
other government programs,
mm-hmm.
even, it's oh boy, we spend a lot more money than that trying
mm-hmm.
to get people a job.
Yeah, and you know, this isn't meant to replace other strategies. It's kind of just,
Yeah.
you know, another leg on the bar stool. But one of the great things as you listen to Chris Gibbons talk about this is that, you know, again, when the city of Littleton was faced with this, with these massive layoffs, you know, they realized that they didn't have time to go out and chase a whole bunch of companies and trying to get them to move. And in the trainings, Chris Gibbons refers to this as, you know, that you know, this is this grow from within. These companies are already here. These are people, they're on our boards. They're people that you and I interact with all the time in the community. You can drive by and, you know, see their actual business. And it doesn't require all this activity of going out and trying to compete against other communities to try to get them to move here.
Right.
And you know, for a chamber, you know, we're the 5th largest chamber in the state. We have 1,200 members. So this is a great way for us to add value to our members. It's a program that, again, for little to no risk for the chamber to be able to, you know, put a mark on economic development and be able to, you know, provide value to our members, which is something we're always looking at doing.
I love action.
I do too. I always say I always say, you know, we have to put some verbs in our sentences. So I say that all the time. So I like action too.
Well, where do we get information if we've got people out there that might be listening who think, maybe that's what I should be doing?
Sure. There's a couple different websites. They can go to nationalcentereg.org, or they can just go to tricityregionalchamber.com and they can click on the link under programs for economic gardening, or they can call the chamber at 736-0510 and ask for myself or Austin Nielsen, and we can point them in the right direction.
And so let's say that maybe like 6 months from now, you will come back and give us a progress report about
I'd love to.
how did this actually even work?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you are on the hot seat in a lot of different ways here locally as well as now in the state.
Right.
But you know, that provides great motivation, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
again, we believe in the 28 years of this program, and you know, our board's behind this 100%. We've got great staff working on it, and you know, we're doing our due diligence to pick the right CEOs and the right companies to run through this project so that we can be successful.
Yeah. All right. Sounds smart. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we'll have a chance to find out from Lori, you know, what other programs and projects the Tri-Cities Regional Chamber has up their sleeve right now. So stay with us. We're back in a moment. My guest today is Lori Matson. She's with the Tri-Cities Regional Chamber. We were just talking about economic gardening, but we're going to switch gears a little bit because economic gardening is really for companies that are, you know, have a revenue base of over $1 million. So there are plenty of other companies in the Tri-Cities that don't have that kind of revenue. And I know that one of the programs that you do is called PTech, and it works with small companies trying to get on the contractor list for government services in the Tri-Cities. What does PTech stand for?
It stands for Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and we're actually one of 9 centers throughout the state of Washington, and we cover 6 counties, Benton, Franklin counties, and then kind of 4 of the other smaller counties around us.
Well, what kind of procurement are we talking about? Are we talking about office supplies? What are we talking about?
Well, it really runs the gamut from products and services to catering, even.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've been at PTech Center for a little over 5 years actually, and you know, our PTech counselor over the 5 years has helped local small businesses get over millions of dollars in these contracts with government entities. And it's not just our Hanford contractors. She does classes. We do meet the buyer sessions as well, where we'll bring in cities, ports, school districts, even our prisons. We've had people from the prison of Walla Walla and the prison in Connell. You know, and again, it can be really overwhelming for a small business to even know if they're prepared to do business with a government contractor, and then our counselor can help them get everything ready, all their documents ready, and kind of help guide them through that process of, you know, answering to a bid or going out and knocking on the door of a big government contractor.
Wow, again, that just, this is like real trickle down in,
Right.
in
Yes.
reality.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah,
Yes, over the last 5 years. Mm-hmm.
Well, when we think about just the Hanford money alone that
Right.
flows into this community, and if some of these smaller businesses can get a little piece of that pie, that just seems like a huge boom for all of us, beneficial.
Sure, it does, and all of these major contractors and government entities, have goals in which they have to do a certain amount of business with small businesses. So, again, you've got the small business owner who doesn't know how to access the government entity. You have a government entity that doesn't necessarily know how to get in touch with small businesses.
Mhm.
So that's where PTech and a chamber, can be that go-between between these two entities.
Because I think that some of the government agencies have requirements
Mhm.
to
Oh, absolutely.
to use small contractors,
Mhm.
don't they? So
Yes.
I mean, they actually are looking for each other.
Exactly, right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, our counselor is, busy all day long, meeting with all kinds of different businesses, and some of them come in and they're not ready, and, others, we get letters back that we, share with our board, and, share with the people that are helping to fund this program of, these success stories of, I came in and worked, we did this, and had so many meetings, and because of that I was awarded a $2 million contract or something. It can have a huge impact on a small business.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let me ask you just a side question here.
Sure.
This is like a totally weird question out of the sky here. I was over in your office area, which is shared by 3 others, Visit Tri-Cities, TriDAC, and the Chamber, which is a great location right next to that brand new hotel, Hilton Gardens?
Spring Hill
No.
Suites.
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
Spring Hill, the other one's across the street. So, and I had to go on the roundabout and saw that piece of art and
Right.
saw the newer top part that was added that is music. What does that mean?
Well, yeah, it's interesting as it's evolved over
Yes, it
several
has.
months. It started out, there was just a few things. I know we were kind of driving by it going, what is that? Although probably a year ago or so, we actually saw the drawing of what it was going to look like, and it was very colorful. So when it came in, it was just the kind of the bare steel or whatever it's made out of. It kind of didn't make sense yet. So the city of Kennewick is working to kind of brand that area of where we're at as the entertainment district.
Okay.
So kind of the theme of that has to do with that entertainment theme.
Okay.
And I believe it's complete now. And and it's great. It goes really well. As you know, we've been working on this new branding strategy, and it's got the bright, bold colors that we're using. So I think
So
it
it
turned out
actually
really
does
well.
blend really
It
well,
does,
doesn't it?
yeah.
Well, it seemed like at first it was symbolized some kind of a river running through, but obviously we're going to have to bring in the artist.
Artists, there you go.
And that's where we're going to find out what it means. Okay.
right.
All right. Lori, it was delightful having you on today, and I really appreciate what the Tri-Cities Chamber is doing, the regional chamber, and I love it when we actually take programs and put action behind it, and we don't just talk about it. You know that?
Thank you. Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Doing a nice job. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us here on Meet in the Middle.